Now we will discuss why water is important. Of course, water is important, but why is water important and how do we prove this point? That we will study today. Okay, can anybody take up this experiment? Can anybody take up this activity? Anybody want to volunteer? Yes, Priscilla, take it up.
In this experiment, they're taking two plants where one plant is watered every day and the other is not. Then after a few days, one of the plant is like normal in shape, but it is turgid and stiff. But the other plant is has withered and is flaccid.
Correct.
And the cause of this is because water is present in the vacuoles, and when we are not pouring water to the plant, the vacuoles are not having enough water. So that's why the turgidity has gone from the plant.
Very good. Excellent. Thank you, Priscilla. Correct. So, Unmana, remember you were asking about turgidity? This is actually a classic example of turgidity. Thank you, Priscilla. Okay. So, this is the same example that, I had, flaccid is just the opposite of turgid. When the leaves wither, they droop, they start drooping, and, they don't have much water. They lose, the elasticity. That is called flaccid. Just the opposite of turgid. Now, this is an example that I was citing that, you have two plants. The plant on the left side, you keep on watering it continuously. It gets sunlight, it gets nutrients, it gets it gets carbon dioxide and everything. But the plant on the right side, that also gets everything, but it does not get water. You will not water it, right? This is to prove the example, prove the activity experiment that the guard cells, the vacuoles which are present inside the guard cells, they always need to be turgid. They always need to have enough water to maintain a turgid pressure within them, to build a balance, so that you must have always seen a plant always stand straight, and the leaves are always, they don't need any support. The leaves are also, tight and taut and straight. Why? Because of the water, the turgidity pressure that's there. There's, the moment you stop watering, you will first effect will be on the leaf. The leaf will not stand straight anymore. The leaf will become flaccid and it will start drooping because there's no more water. The turgidity is lost. Then after a few days, you will find the stem. The stem will also lose its turgidity because it will also lose all the water, and the stem will also bend in one side. The stem will not be able to stand erect.
Then they also synthesize in the presence of water.
Yes, so the stem will also bend. It will not remain, it will not remain erect, right? So after a few days, you will find that this healthy plant is still standing erect. The leaves are pointing upwards, standing ekdam like a turgid plant. Whereas in this case, the vacuoles, look at the blue color vacuole. It has so little water. Look at the, the cell here, the guard cell has become like squeezed out totally. जैसे किसी ने पानी निकाल लिया इससे. It's absolutely nothing left. Nothing left in this. So that's the reason why whatever little it had in store, it has got utilized. So it will turn flaccid and slowly the plant will die. Correct? Yes.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, Karthik, tell me.
Ma'am, can plants just grow in water?
Yes, there are certain plants which need only water to grow. As I said, there are certain indoor plants like money plant, pothos. We call it pothos. The scientific name is pothos. In layman's, we call it money plant. There are certain small Chinese bamboo plant. There is snake plant, spider plant. Yes, Unmana, lotus. They only need water. It's okay even if you don't have to add any nutrients to the water. Only plain water is enough. Okay, so this is proved that water is the third and the most important a constituent for photosynthesis. Now, today we'll study also how the transport of materials happen. Okay, but before that, I want to ask Syed Nasruddin, can you please answer, in human beings, how does transport of material happen in human beings? Syed, can you please take the question?
Ma'am, through veins.
Very good, through veins. Not only through veins, you can also call it through blood vessels. Excellent, very good. So which is the material, which is the channel through which transport happens in plants, Syed? Syed, what is it in case of plants?
Ma'am,
Tell me,
I
Syed?
cannot. I
Okay.
don't know.
Okay, in case, we'll discuss this, it's a new chapter. In case of plants, it is xylem. Mainly it is, if of course, yes, Vansh, xylem and phloem. You're right, Pushpal, Unmana, all of you are right. Today we'll be studying more about xylem because we are discussing about the nutrition. How do they transport all the minerals and water upwards? Okay. All right. So basically, before understanding the transport mechanism, before understanding what is xylem and phloem, first we need to understand how does plant get the water. Remember, Karthik had asked a question that if soil and water, they cannot mix together, then how do plants understand that I need to take water and they only take water? So here you need to understand. Let me give you try and give you an explanation. For example, you have a potted plant at home. Yes, Priscilla, diffusion, good, very good. Yes, so what happens is that you have a potted plant at home. It has soil, right? And it is not growing so much, it is not flowering so much. So what you did is that you added some fertilizer. Okay, you added some powdered fertilizer in the soil and then mixed the soil. Okay, now do you think the plant will be able to take in that powder fertilizer which is full of nutrients, nitrogen, phosphorus, calcium, zinc, everything is there? You know, a full packet you've got. Will the plant be able to take that powder directly to the leaf? No. Correct. Priscilla, Unmana, Vansh, Karthik, all of you correct. It will not be able to take. So, yes, Pushpal, it will not be able to take because it's a solid. So in that case, what do we have to do? We have to water the plant. That is one option. And the second option could also be we mix the fertilizer in a cup of water and we make a solution out of it. And then we pour it in the root of the plant. We pour it in the soil. Then it is soluble. The nutrient is either mixed or not mixed with the water, but it is, it has reached the soil. Now it is up to the root to absorb, the root hairs to absorb the water along with the nutrients into the stem and then to the leaf. This is how a typical transport happens of water and nutrients. Yes, Unmana, also in human beings, it is basically the plasma, which is the liquid part. Otherwise, the blood is made out of red blood cell and white blood cell and platelets, which are solid. They are very microscopic, but they are solid. They will not be able to move through the tube, inside the tube. There has to be a liquid substance which can help them move and transport. So that's the plasma, which gives it viscosity. Very good. Okay. Now what happens? As I said, the root hairs, the root hairs have, these tiny vessels inside. So these tiny vessels reach the root cortex. Let me enlarge this picture to you so that all of you can see properly. It enters the root cortex. From that is the last end point of the root, or maybe the beginning point of the root. From there are certain cells. These are specialized cells. These are specialized tube-like cells called the xylem. Xylem, they have the capacity to flow upwards. The upward movement, just imagine they are going, they are defying gravity, right? Because gravity always pulls things downwards. But xylem is defying gravity. They are pushing the water upwards. And they are pushing the water upwards till they reach the leaves. Till they reach the leaves and till they reach the stomata, till they reach the guard cells and till they reach the vacuoles, right? So diffusion through stomata happen. What does this diffusion of stomata happen? I really want someone of you to actually answer this question. Vansh, do you want to take up this question? How does diffusion through stomata happen in case of water in leaves?
Ma'am, I couldn't answer that.
Okay, not an issue. We are just studying, not an issue. Pushpal, Unmana, any of you want to take up this question? I know this is a new concept for all of
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Yes, Unmana, tell me. What is this
Ma'am,
diffusion stomata?
ma'am, I think diffusion through stomata means that through transpiration the water is given out. So I think diffusion of stomata means that putting the water out.
Not really, not really. Priscilla, do you want to take it up? Unmana, what you have said is the output. And we are now talking only how things are happening. Abhi tak photosynthesis. Yes, Karthik, take it up.
Ma'am, air enters the plants through the openings of stomata. Stomata also it requires carbon dioxide, which is used in photosynthesis, and oxygen, which is used in respiration. Ma'am, it is used by humans and produced out carbon dioxide.
No, 1 second. Sorry to interrupt you, Karthik. Karthik, you're going on another tangent. I'm still discussing just water and how is water reaching the stomata or the guard cells. I'm only discussing the inside part. Abhi tak photosynthesis shuru nahi hua hai. Anybody else wants to take it up?
Through
Priscilla?
diffusion, ma'am, from higher concentration of water to lower concentration of water.
Excellent. Excellent, Priscilla. Excellent. That is exactly what I was wanting to hear. Excellent. Okay. Now, this is a new concept for all of you. So it is quite obvious that, none of you will know the answer. That's okay. That's all right. That's perfectly fine. So what happens here is that, we were here. Let me just enlarge the screen. We were here. Xylem, what was Xylem doing? It was pushing the water upwards. Leaf stalk tak gaya. Leaf stalk ke baad leaf tak gaya. Leaf veins mein gaya. Leaf veins ke baad, when it is reaching the stomach. Till here, it was all tube-like structure. It was very easy to go tube, 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 now tube. Now what? Stomata ke baad, there is no tube. How will it enter the stomata? How will it enter the gut cell? There is no tube. Then what happens? Stomata also, it has got a wall, cell wall. If you remember the picture of the guard cell that we had discussed last time, the outer cell wall is very thin. The inner cell wall was thick. So because the outer cell wall is thin, water can slowly enter inside the stomata. That means inside the guard cells. Because the concentration of water outside is more, the water can enter inside the guard cells and make the leaves much more turgid. It can fill up the vacuoles. It can give the required water it requires for photosynthesis. Now the chloroplasts are very happy that we've got water. Wow, we've got sunlight. Carbon dioxide has come inside through stoma. We have got nutrients also through water, which has entered the guard cells through diffusion. Now we have everything. Let's begin photosynthesis. Understood? So this is how the transport of materials happens in plants, right? So these are basically xylem and phloem. There are two such channels. If you want to simplify it, there are two such tube-like structures inside the stem. One is known as the xylem, the other one is called the phloem. Today we will be studying only xylem. Xylem helps in the upward movements of water and minerals, right? Xylems are also present in stems. It is present in roots and also in the leaf. But as soon as there is stomata, there is no xylem. So that is when diffusion starts. Because there is no more xylem over there, that is when diffusion, say, it enters the stomata. Now, this is another example which is the upward movement of water. Okay, Pushpal, can you take up this experiment? Can you explain this activity to me and to all your friends? This is a very simple experiment activity which we keep on seeing on several digital media, and you must, all of you must do it at home once at least. Pushpal, do you want to take it up?
Ma'am, I don't know. This is only my first class. So I have no
Okay.
idea what was taught in the last class. So I don't know.
I have not taught anything, dear. I have not taught this in the last class. Everybody is new to this concept. No issues. That's all right. Okay. Pranay, do you want to take up this activity? Do you want to explain this activity to your friends? Amulya, do you want to explain this activity to your friends? Okay, Priscilla, you get the chance once more. Tell.
We have to take a conical flask where we are supposed to keep colored water, and then we should take a small sapling of a balsam plant.
Correct.
And then we have to keep it. We have to take a split cork and keep the roots through that into the conical flask.
Correct.
And then after a few days, we see that the leaves and the stems are colored, whatever color is in the water. By this, we know that the xylem transports the water in the upward direction, and also whatever which is dissolved in the water.
Excellent. Thank you, Priscilla. Once more, a big star, a big golden star to you. Okay, great. Okay, now, let me explain it once more. Though Priscilla has beautifully explained, all of you actually are very brilliant. I must say, all of you have been actually, doing very well in the class. All of you have been participating nicely. I'm really liking it. But let me explain this to you in two ways. I'll give you two activities. One is a balsam plant. There is a reason why we have taken balsam plant, because balsam plants are, are very tender plants which show the results very fast. You can do several experiments on a balsam plant. The absorbability is high in balsam, right? So what you do is that you take, maybe, even if you don't, please do this experiment or this activity at home. If you don't want to take a balsam plant, I will give you one more alternative. Okay, take a glass of water, right? In that glass of water, add some water. Of course, you will take a glass of water, add some ink, maybe red color ink, blue, pink, whatever color ink you can add. Or if you do not have ink, you can add some watercolor or poster color in it and make it quite dark. Then what you can do is that take a few maybe yellow color or white color flower and put it in the glass. Black, yes, Karthik, you can take black. Yes, you can. So you put one white rose, you put one white lily, you put one white, zacaranda or whatever flower you want. Not sunflower. It's better you take a white color flower. In a white color flower, it will be visible. Right? So what will happen is that maybe after a day, maybe in 24 hours, what will happen is that this red color or maybe the orange color that you had taken, the dye, it will slowly go upwards and it will turn the white flower a little orangish. Isn't it interesting? Whatever color you take, if you would have taken blue here, you will find that the flower has turned light blue. If you have taken orange, it would have turned the white flower a little orangish. I would request all of you to do this experiment at least once. It's a beautiful experiment to do, and you can see it on your own. How and why does this happen? See, when you do this at home, you will not have an entire plant. You will only have a stem of a flower, but that also shows that the stem has xylem in it, and it has the capacity to upward movement, to prove that the upward movement of water happens in through xylem, and ultimately it reaches the flower or leaf or whatever. If you can take a balsam plant, nothing like it. Right? Mixes color as in Karthik, it will not mix up color, but it will absorb, it will soak in the color. Through xylem, it will transport the water. Whatever you add in the water, it will transport the same thing into the end, be it leaf, be it flower. Okay, so this is to prove.
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yes, Unmana.
Ma'am, if we put two colors in the water, then which color will it show?
See, if you put two colors in the water, for example, you add red and yellow, what will the color of the water turn?
Ma'am, red.
No, orange. If you mix red and yellow, it will turn the color into orange.
Okay, ma'am.
So it will, the flower will also, white flower will also turn orange. If not fully orange, but a little tinge of orange.
Okay, ma'am.